Well, this has been already such an incredible moment with you, Jana Stern, because we started this whole thing off with you giving me an oracle reading, which is just like that's my idea of like a thrill. Like that's like the biggest thrill I can get is to like encounter someone like you who has come into terms with all of your greatness and your connection and your gifts, and you now know how to channel them all and give people messages and help people heal themselves. But I love this about you is you are very adamant about people being their own guru and not just relying on someone saying they know the answers. And I feel like that's a big deal.
It is. You know, everyone is always seeking in this reality for somebody to follow, right? We have a whole culture, and we talked about this around celebrity. What is it to be a celebrity? Who can I worship? What do I love about them? What do I hate about them? I'm going to build them up and tear them down. And like, we never look within. And
Why is that?
because we are scared of our own power and we're taught that we're not. We're taught lack. We're taught in not enoughness. And to stand up against that fights the system in such a resilient, revolutionary way. And so, that's why I have my program called the Resilience Revolution, because you got to be willing to be like, wait a minute, I don't subscribe to that. I actually have all this power and I do have the ability to change my life and make things different for myself. And as soon as you rely on anybody, and listen, I think it's obviously incredible to have coaches and guides and teachers and, healers and things who can help you on the journey. But ultimately, you really are your own guru. You have the answers inside of you, and nobody has experienced your life but you. So somebody can offer you beautiful reflections, and that helps you move from A to B. But if you're going to get from A to Z or Z, depending on what country you're in, then you're going to have to take some of those steps on your own, and you can't lean on any person. We learned this many times in our lives. You can't lean on any person forever and ever. You can't Nobody can be your everything. You have to be your everything. So, you know I've gotten sucked into relying on, therapists or healers or guides or teachers in my lifetime, and then inevitably I see their humanity, and it feels like this rug has been pulled out from under you. And I'm like, but you were everything. You were something magical. And like they were just human, along with all the other celebrities that we worship, right? And so I think that, rerouting that and reclaiming your own sovereign magic, that this capacity that we all have to rewrite the script of what's possible in this lifetime, there's power in that. And I think I do a disservice as somebody who does communicate with the other side and act like a bridge for messages to be delivered. The last thing I want is for people to look at me as if I have the answers. I can tell you stuff. I can see what's going on in your blind spot. And, you and I just kind of experienced some of that a moment ago. But really, it's like, okay, well, now what are you going to do about it, Caroline? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares what I know? What are you doing about it?
Yeah. I totally know that. And I feel like for the longest time, I was always seeking answers. And for like a guy, like you're saying, I was wanting someone to tell me what to do. I was wanting someone to lay it all out for me. I was like, people know way more than me. Someone out there has all the answers. Someone has figured it out. Someone is oh so holy. Someone is like the one. And now I've gotten a chance to like be in a lot of very wise, connected souls. And I, like you said, I see their humanness. I've learned their humanness as well. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
everyone is gifted, and so many people have developed their gifts and work with their gifts. But it's like ultimately at the end of the day, nobody knows. Nobody
And
knows all the answers. Nobody
it's a
knows.
muscle. Like, you have muscles, use them.
Yeah.
And what you think you, I say this a lot. I know a lot. I'm a wise soul. I know this of myself. Um, and there is a shit ton that I do not know at all. And there are a lot of things that I don't even know that I don't know in this world. And I just, it's so important to just know what you do know and to really ground into, you came here for a reason. And the reason you came here is to know yourself. And that's it.
Okay, so we all start off in infinite energy, love, whatever. We're
Mhm.
all connected in this, but we're
Mhm.
all individuals in this other realm too, right? But we're all one because everyone has their own unique soul, but then we're all a part of the one because we're all just one, which is the
Mhm.
one big energy, which is God, the universe, the almighty power, everything.
Right.
But then we like break off into little soul specks of that one. So then
Yeah,
the big one, all energy can experience itself in all these little specks
that's
of
right.
itself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like whenever you pass away or whatever and you go to the next realm and you're like connecting with your soul family or whatever and you see your life and then you decide where what I don't know exactly what happens in that next realm, but I know you like lose your physical body and you go
Yes.
up into this all energy.
Yeah.
But you're still an individual soul, right? Or have you connected fully back with the one consciousness? Do you know that you're a part of the one consciousness? How do you, my whole question is like, how do we are individuals, but we're not? Like,
Correct.
how does that, where's that
Yeah.
blurred line?
We get really lost in me, in the eye of life. I had this experience. I had this trauma. I'm feeling this feeling. I want this thing. I have this desire. And we get really, it's the ego, right? We get really stuck in the I. Um,
Hey, Sunny,
when
gotta go. This is Sunny, my daughter. She wants to come say hi.
uh
She broke the
oh, you
door
are
open.
so sunny.
Okay, get out of here. I love you. Okay, thank you. Can you take all the dogs too, please? Please take the dogs. All the dogs are in here too. Hey, go, Sugar. Go on. Go. Go on, Ruby. Call him. Go, Ruby. Here's Ruby. This is Ruby. Ruby. Okay, go
Oh, bye, Ruby.
on. Okay. Thank you. Um, okay,
Sweet.
sorry.
Yeah. So we're stuck. We're stuck in the eye. And when we are in spirit, um, it's like the best analogy that we have, that I have in this moment, is like in when you're in a vessel, it's like you are aware that you are the drop of water in the ocean. And when you are not in the vessel, you are the ocean, but there is still the remnants of the drop. There is still the
Oh,
the
okay.
the atom of it. You know what I mean? You
You
still
become the
know
drop.
you become the ocean.
So like
You're
the drop is its own thing when it's out of the ocean, but it's a part of the ocean, but yet it's its own drop.
That's
Very,
right.
this is kind of a mind fuck.
It's totally a mind fuck. We've spent entire generations trying to figure it out as a species, and
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers. I have some answers, but I don't have all the answers. I do know though that when we are in a physical body, we're actually not meant to have all the answers. We are meant to go through what I often call earth school to
Yeah.
learn about ourselves and how the whole expresses itself. And right now, like, we're in this time where things are so divisive and so nasty. We kind of
But
like,
you felt this coming though. I've stalked you pretty hard on your Instagram. You felt this time was a reckoning. This was a
uh-huh,
time. Okay. Why?
yes.
Because it is.
Well,
It's like crazy. And I think you
it's
even said this.
biblical.
It's like War of the Worlds. I think you posted something like that. It feels like everybody's crazy. Nothing makes sense. Everything that we put all of our belief into has now been turned upside down. We don't believe the systems, which is
We've
good.
only just begun.
How long is this process gonna last?
Oh, babe. Well, it'll be intense for sure until 2027, and then things will take a turn for the better.
Okay.
Um, God willing. Um, but yeah, I did see it coming. And I saw it coming. And I remember in 2020, being like, oh, it's like that, huh? Like, this is what we're doing. Whoa. Okay. And I remember on day 90, because it takes 90 days to form a habit of 6 feet of distance, which is the space that your heart chakra resonates, which means that no people who were less than 6 feet, you were not feeling their humanity at all. You were not feeling their heart resonance because they were 6 feet away from you.
So is that part of
And
it to get us disconnected from
100%,
people?
100%, without a doubt.
So we were
Um,
so far apart from people, so everyone was isolated and then couldn't connect with anyone else.
that's right. That's right.
Interesting. So
And at
this,
90 days, I remember having a full mental breakdown about it and being like, oh, now we're in the habit. Now this is what we do. Now this is who we are as a species. And we're going to have to unlearn this. And it's going to be a lot of work. And even then, at that point, I already had the knowing that we are destined for this collective awakening. And I did not know that it was going to go to all the places and how like be as insidious as it was. But I don't know why I didn't expect it to be, because I've dug into some of the most disgusting parts of humanity just to shed light on it, because I believe that you have to look. And yeah, I think there's still more to go. And we kind of talked about it earlier, right? Some of those things that we're
Are
seeing
we just
coming to an
due for
end.
a giant reset? Like the system's finally
Mm-hmm.
failed.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
whatever we had built was built wasn't built on truth. It was built on like blinding people to their own
Exploitation
truth.
and yeah, exactly. And like this, I mean, like what did every single one of your cards just say a moment ago? Truth is love, right? Do you see love in like capitalism and exploitation and war and death and all these? Like, no,
Big
like
pharma.
exactly, right? Like it's just terrible. Now that doesn't mean that there isn't great things about medicine, but
Absolutely.
is it medicine or is it medication? We're gonna leave it alone.
Hmm.
Right. But then like really, where is the blend of those things? And this is why, again, we're seeing this like big uptick in holistic medicine and Western medicine, sorry, Eastern medicine rather, and spiritual practices and belief in God is going through the roof because we're living in biblical times, and hey, there must be something bigger than us, and how we all choose to access it kind of doesn't matter, so long as your beliefs don't want to murder other people. But yeah, I think that we're really in this interesting time right now in humanity, and questions that like the one that you're asking about what the hell goes on the other side. We have so much more bandwidth for that now than we ever have in human history, right? When we were busy tilling the fields, we weren't stopping and being like, what happens when you die? Maybe we'd ponder the question for a little while, but we didn't have time to just sit in the algorithm and scroll about it for 5 hours. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you have, yeah, I know it feels very political, but also at the same time, I've noticed you posted a lot about it's just like two wings of the same bird. Like it's all the same thing, and
Yeah.
so it's just all it's like neither one is the answer, you know?
Correct. That's right. New bird, please.
I know. Can we get a new bird?
I
But we
know.
have to break the system down, I guess, until we get a new bird.
Yeah. I think what we need to do is like sort of shoot it out of the sky, so to speak. Or rather like put it in a cage and make sure that in its cage it doesn't get suicided. And by that I mean that it suffers a consequence, that we call the bird what it is, and that we name this. My nose is itchy, which means that this is incredibly true.
Oh.
Um, uh, there has been this dark insidiousness to this reality, and governments have been involved, clearly, right? We know with the CIA just really like has released things that like aliens are real, and so is remote viewing, which means that they have people who can view with their third eye what you're doing, right? Like they can literally astral project themselves out of their body and observe different rooms around the world, and that is real. And like casually they mentioned it and they're like, don't worry about it though, guys, it's fine. Did you see this policy that we've put out that makes you angry at your neighbor? Like it's just we're so backwards, and we believe so much of this reality. We believe that like the atoms are real around us that are formulating, and we believe that we've forgotten that it's all here for us and that we can create it differently and that we have the power to do that. And as soon as your power is taken away from you, then they can instill more fear so that you will obey and do as they say. And unfortunately, for most people, there is no alternative to that. Like there is no other way. And many of us are waking up. There's like this inkling, this feeling of like monotony and doldrum, like energy of like I feel like there's got to be more than this. And people are saying it left and right and left and right and left and right. Like this can't be where we end. Like this is
Hmm.
not the end of the world, even though it does feel like the end of the world. It is the end of a world. And in many spiritual communities, we talk about like new earth consciousness, right? And like God bless those people because they are holding the frequency for something that is possible. Do I think that it's going to be all love and light, maybe not right away and maybe not in our lifetime fully, but certainly perhaps in your children, in our children's, like I don't have any, but in the kids, they might experience it. Certainly their children will. um in the real, what I say, the real age of Aquarius, we're Pluto is in Aquarius, but in the real age of Aquarius in 250 years, when humanity has really let it sink in, then we'll have a different experience. But over the next 20 years, the reckoning is coming for us to arrive.
So it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, get your popcorn.
Do you feel like we will get to a place where the systems have collapsed and people
Mm-hmm.
have regained their like intuition and their connection to divine, and we are actually living in a harmonious state?
Mm-hmm. I do think that.
That's great.
Um, yeah, I do think that like I said to you earlier, I have to cling to that. Otherwise, um, I'm gonna go to the other place because it ain't it here. When in my 20s, I had a suicide attempt and tried to kill myself. I was gone for 11 minutes. And in that time, Spirit gave me the choice to come back. And
Really? I want,
mhm.
okay, sorry. I want to hear what you're about to say, but like I want to unpack this first part. How did Spirit give you the choice? What did that feel like? Like, how did you know you were getting a choice from Spirit?
For me, I like left my body, and my great grandmother and my ancestors, my great grandfather, like those who I know and those who I don't know. I'm very fortunate to be able to track my lineage and have photos of my great grandparents, my great great grandparents, and my great 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 grandparents are all intact, which as a Jewish woman is kind of a miracle. Um, and I was greeted by them, and my great grandmother sort of came to me. I'm named for her. I hold her name. My Hebrew name is her name. um and uh she said to me, it's too soon, but you have a choice. And I was like, okay. And she showed me kind of like, the pain that my mother was feeling in the moment. My mom was sitting there in the hospital with me, and she showed me that pain. And I really had this understanding that, like, forever after, if I chose to go, then the story that my brothers would tell, that my parents would tell, that my grandparents who were still alive at the time would tell was our daughter, sister, granddaughter killed herself. And that had a weight. And I was like, I don't I don't like how that feels. So I chose. I came back. I was like, okay, I'm back. I go.
Was it
And
hard to get back into your body?
nope. It
It
was
wasn't?
a no. It was a simple choice. My nose is so itchy. It was a simple choice. Um,
Were you
it was
happy to be
hard as
back? Oh yeah, go
no,
ahead.
no, not right away. It
You're
was
not
hard as
happy to be
fuck to
back.
be in the body. But I did a lot of work. I went through a lot of therapies, a lot of healing. I had a life activation, which changed my life. I had
What does
a
that mean?
number. It's a metaphysical healing through the modern mystery school that I later mastered and learned myself because it was such an impactful healing on me. Um, and I had lots of different readings and other sessions, healings, psychic uh, um, surgeries and things like that, all these woo weird things. And practical, I was in treatment for many years and seeing 5 different therapists and doing creative therapies and art therapies and this and that and the other. And I mean, you name it. I was medicated. I was all these things. I had so many diagnoses: eating disorder, borderline personality. At one point, they were like, no, she's bipolar, like her father. No, I'm not. Yes, she, like, it was just so many things. And like almost the moment that I decided, actually, none of that is my truth, but thank you so much. The truth is that I'm magical and this reality is fucked and y'all have a problem. And there is this bigger thing that is available to us. And we are from this source and we are here for like such a short amount of time for such an important reason right now. And I knew this 20 years ago when I had my attempt, more than that, when I had my attempt, I knew this like deeply in my soul, and I didn't like know what to do about it. And now that we're here, I was like, oh, this time right now, this is why I chose. Because when I came back and started to like hear spirit and have the gift of mediumship way more intensely than ever before. When I was a kid, I could hear crystals and like they would sing songs and tell stories. And then as I got older, I was like, okay, I guess I'm just like kind of crazy. And as I leaned into it, I was like, no, this woo stuff is real. Like this spiritual stuff is real. And the more that I was just like gung ho, this is it. I don't care what you say. Call me crazy. It doesn't matter. The more the trend of it started trending. And like now you can't open your phone without somebody talking about it. And I'm like, do you know how many times I heard people tell me that I was nuts because of this shit? And like, I just laugh now because it's, because I do think that we still have a long way to go to where we're going to get. And where people are now in their awakenings and waking up to all of this magic, thank God. Thank God. And there's a long journey ahead for all of us. But I do think that we'll get there.
What drove you to want to end it?
Mm, the pressure, the pressure of knowing that I have a big mission. I have a big mouth, which means I have a big mission.
Really?
And
Okay.
B, the pressure of knowing, being able to like future cast and understand this world. I sort of brushed over it quickly, but my father is schizophrenic and he has been since I was a small child. His first hospitalization, I was 3, and it's just been an ongoing reality of that.
Was
um
that scary for you as a kid?
it was heartbreaking for me as a kid. There were
And
moments that it was scary because he would say and do things that were out of his, that were real to him but not real to the rest of us. um but it just always broke my heart. It always felt like he didn't get what he needed from his parents, and he wasn't understood, and he wasn't making the right choices for himself. He'd go on his meds and off his meds and on his meds and off his meds, and it was just always something. But that relationship to mental health and understanding how unbelievably gifted this man is. He is somebody who can look up at the stars and tell you every single constellation. He has a mind like nobody I know. He is so bright and so brilliant, and ideas just flow through him in this magical way. And, 70 years ago, one didn't tend to the needs of a special need the way that we do now. Thank God that we do now, but it was not available. And I knew this. I always had that knowing. And I understood about his magic. I understood about his gifts. Still when I speak to him now, I mean, thankfully, so he walked to Florida from Toronto in 2021 during the pandemic when the borders were closed. We don't know how the hell he got there. And
why did you do that?
I don't know why he did that. He
Do
just
you
wanted to
do you
retire, I think.
do you feel like, because you talk a lot about how traumas are truly like a blessing once you crack them open.
Yeah.
Schizophrenia feels difficult because it's like all these different personalities and thought processes seem to be happening at once.
Mm.
How do you relate that to his spiritual gifts and view it as a
Well,
spiritual gift?
yeah. I mean, if you're hearing voices, who's talking? Right.
Right. Yeah.
And
Why are they talking to him? But some of the voices want you to harm yourself, though, right?
yeah, he's never been that guy a day in his life. Um, Currently he's institutionalized in a hospital, like in a state hospital. And while he is there, like they're like, he's the nicest guy, he doesn't cause any problems, he's the best patient, we love him so much. And every single hospital is like this for years. Like, he is the least violent person you'll ever meet in your life. So thankfully that's not part of my experience of him.
Hmm.
But yeah, I always had this understanding that, because I could hear voices too. Crystals would literally speak to me. My grandfather had this huge collection. His father and his grandfather, like my grandmother's father, also collected. And so I could always hear them, always. When my parents were still married, we would go to their home in Pennsylvania, and I could hear them sing to me and tell me stories. And as I got older, it became very clear that like hearing voices, no bueno, right? And so like for him, I think the way that his magic is, the way that his gift comes through is ingenious. Like, and they say it's a thin line between genius and insanity. And
Hmm.
I think he just crossed the line and forgot how to come back. I often say he kind of left his body, he went up someplace, and now it's hard for him to come back down.
Okay.
And you know, I think we all have the capacity to go there, but we choose not to because it's simply easier not to. And now in this world, like in an internet world, it's even easier not to, right? Just stay on the TV, stay in the algorithm,
Stay
eat
plugged
the
in.
sugar. Exactly. Just do whatever you're told to do. Have the unhealthy foods that keep your vibration low. Wear the fabrics that are not good for you, eat the foods that all of the things,
But it's
everything
so
plays a
hard
role.
because finding the things that are good for you is like it's
Yep.
like you have to go seek it out because
Yep.
it is so hard to find we're so programmed just to be in the system and to be weighed down by food
Mm-hmm.
and products that it's to
Mm-hmm.
find what's good vibrationally is you have to go hunting for it.
Yes. And what's very interesting about that is we are seeing though this trend in organic food, in what is sustainable, what is good for the planet, what is good for our bodies, what holistic medicine, supplements, things like that. Like there is a trend in that, and the trend is trending for a reason because we want that. We are reclaiming it. Unfortunately, there are powers that be, entities and energies that maybe don't want that. Um, they don't want us to be that powerful to remember. But I believe that like the reckoning will come. I just believe that there will come a time where collectively people will recognize that your neighbor is not your threat. And so long as we are voting for the left wing or the right wing and being like, that's the bird I'm betting on, like, well, we're going to stay in this. And, it was funny. Canada just had an election. And,
Because you're in Canada.
yep. And, unfortunately. And,
Unfortunately, why do you say that?
oh, all of North America is shithole, frankly. I'm just like so over it all. I want to be in places where they remember that we're on the land and that land is sacred and that we must tend it and care for it and that we're not just here to like pay bills and die. I
Where
want
do
to
you
live
feel where do you feel like that is?
Oh, so many places. I've experienced it in Costa Rica. I've experienced it in Mexico. I've experienced it in Bali. I think that there are parts of Europe that still very much remember. I mean, a couple of days ago, Spain and Portugal had no internet and they just sat around and like played games. Like nobody was looting and, pulling their guns out like there would be up in this, continent. It's just nonsense here. People are so programmed and it's so backwards. Canada's just trying to be America's like but like we're not anything, like we're just so dumb anyway, whatever.
You
We
say
had
cool
this.
little sister, is that what you said?
Yeah. And I said big, but I did mean little, but we're just
Oh.
physically bigger. We're like we're larger than you guys, even though we're way less populated. um yeah, a friend of mine votes differently than I do, and or did than I did. And she was like, well, what do we do? How do we find, we were talking about how to make peace, and how to bridge the gap because she and her husband also vote differently.
That's
And
tricky, especially right now.
yeah, yeah,
That can end marriages.
sure can.
Yeah.
Sure can.
Hmm.
And I said, we have to stop seeing each other as the enemy. And actually the power is in not voting at all. Now, of course, like, people are like, but if you didn't vote, but you can't say this, you can't do that. And I'm like, actually there's like real power in that. I mean, I voted because I voted, because I guess I didn't walk my talk in that moment. But yeah, like I think that if we collectively all stood up, I mean, there's that image of, people all bent over with stuff on their backs carrying it collectively, and then when everybody starts to stand up, the stuff on your back falls off, right? And yeah, it's why I open my mouth every day, because it's my way of standing up in one way or another, even though I'm maybe too cowardly not to vote.
Do you feel nervous speaking your truth? Because you
Never.
do speak how you feel.
Never, never, never. I feel nervous lying. I feel and that's always been there for me. I used to lie as a kid a
You
lot.
did?
Yeah.
Why? What would you lie about?
Um, I lied about I think I was really uncomfortable with what my truth was. You know, it's not easy to be child of divorce whose father is literally psychotic. You know, my mom had remarried. We were a Brady Bunch blended family, and there's a lot of like stuff that comes with that, especially in a small community. And I just wanted to be something different,
Did you
you
like your
know.
childhood?
Yes and no. My mom and my dad, my stepdad, did like their best to provide everything that they could to us, but I was always a brokenhearted like little girl because my father, like my daddy wasn't around, you know, and I had to make hard choices. At 13, I was like, I can't have him in my life. And I really didn't until I was 30. And that was a lot of
Man.
years. Yeah. Yeah. It was a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of
that's just
years.
an ache probably that you
Yeah.
felt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
And
obviously shaped you and brought your gifts into being. I know, isn't that like the double-edged sword? And you
that's like the
speak about
trauma
this.
into magic, you know?
That's the whole thing. Like the trauma is like so necessary, but it's like, oh, is that what this Earth School's about? It's just like
Mm-hmm.
having the trauma and just like feeling it and internalizing it and like alchemizing it into your actual gift.
Yep.
But like, why does it have to be so painful? Because like that is
Oh,
so devastatingly painful as a young child, what you went
yeah.
through.
Yeah, it was. But I think that, you know, I don't relate to it that way anymore. I used
You
to.
healed it. You healed it. Do you think
Yeah,
that's
I
part of what maybe sent you into wanting to end it as well? Just like that
for
ache and
sure.
that pain that you had?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Like
yeah,
your
yeah.
own gifts that you didn't know what to do with, plus your situation. You just
Yeah.
were had so much pain.
Yeah.
It was so heavy.
I was in agony every day and it was clear and I didn't know what to do and I felt so out of control, which is why I was controlling food and you know things like that. Because I didn't know where to go with myself or how to navigate any of this. We're not taught, right? And so, yeah, I do. I think that's exactly what it is. And I think the reason that it's so painful and agonizing and, you know, like desperate in its suffering in this reality is because in order for it to not feel like suffering, you have to feel it. Right?
Oh, okay. Wait, that's kind of big. In order for the suffering to not feel like suffering, you actually have to feel the suffering that you're
Mm-hmm.
resisting.
That's right. You
Or else
have
it's
to
just going
feel
to
it
keep
to heal
knocking on
it.
your door and like banging it down
Mm-hmm.
until finally like you embrace it.
Yes, and it will show up over and 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 over. It'll show up in every single relationship, in every single partnership, in every single friendship. It will show up in your relationship with your parents. It will show up in your relationship with your siblings. It will show up mostly in your relationship with yourself. Like it will just show up over and over and over again. And there will be many things that you will experience that will have you observe how are you relating to that trauma? How are you relating to that core wound? And like everybody has a different one. Not everybody had a schizophrenic father that they had to put outside of their life for, you know, however many years I did. It was like everybody has a something that they've experienced. But then what happens is we get really stuck. And this is where addictions and numbing behaviors and things come about because we don't want to feel it. Um, but if you can look at whatever that thing is that happened that you tell is as the story of why you are the way you are, well, it keeps you the way that you are if you keep saying, this is my why, instead of this is what happened, but it's not me.
That's such a good distinction because, like you said, if you were just to define yourself by your childhood traumas, which I feel like so many of us do,
Consciously or unconsciously. Yep.
you're born into this world and you immediately define yourself by your parents, by your
Mm-hmm.
financial status, by
Yep.
your how
Color,
nurtured
your
you were.
race, your
Yes.
religion. I fit into these buckets. This is who I am. And I'm going to have this kind of suffering or that kind of suffering. And all of
What
it's
the
more valid than
elders
anybody else.
and what the elders in your life tell you about yourself,
Yep.
like you
Yep.
believe that all to be true. And so I
Mm-hmm.
feel like so many, especially like the older generations past us, they never even cracked into it and realized that that wasn't their truth because they weren't, I don't feel like our parents' generations, maybe, but like grandparents, like they didn't even realize that mental health was like a thing, that like it was something that we needed to work on and that we aren't like exactly what you're saying, what has
Yeah.
what has happened to it's just what has happened to us. It's not who we are.
Yes, yes. And I mean, listen, their generation, like our grandparents' generation is almost gone. I still have a grandmother who is living, and I'm grateful for her. But they're almost gone. And when they are, the boomers will have to do a little bit of work. It's clear that they have some work to do. But yeah, I mean, that work is ongoing for us as a species. And like I said, it will be ongoing if we don't blow ourselves up for the next 250 years at least, and maybe for the rest of humanity, for the rest of time, in like for the rest of however long we are here as a species. And that's a lot to think about, right? It's a lot to hold. And also it's why we're here now, because I can say something like that and it lands. You're like, right? And so that was never true before, because we didn't, like our parents' generation and the generation before them didn't have the consciousness for that. They
Mhm.
literally did not have the frequency available to them from the analog life that they were living. And when, for me and you, half of my life was analog and half of my life was digital. For the kids now, their entire lives are digital, but the um percentages of that in boomers is way smaller, right? Their understanding of what's to come. I mean, they're gonna die, right? And I don't mean that in a terrible, in a negative way. I mean, like, they're gonna go back to source, and that's that. Like, we're all
Yeah.
gonna die eventually. And so yeah, there's a lot riding on the future.
It's kind
And
of an exciting time.
right?
I mean, it's thrilling, because
Exactly.
we're at a spiritual warfare here, but what, since you did have a near-death experience, what happens when you die? Like, what is it? Everyone's so afraid of dying, but like, why, and what happens over there? And do you come back again? Because, like, so
Mm,
many faiths don't believe in
mm, mm, mm,
reincarnation,
mm,
so many
mm.
faiths do. Are
Here's how
we,
I
do we have to keep
yeah.
coming back to Earth until we master this Earth experience?
My understanding of it is this. First of all, the answer to your question, what happens? The answer is everything. Everything happens. Every single experience. You are the bee, you are the ant, you are the bird, you are the jaguar, you are the tiger, you are the leaf, you are the sand, you are the water, you are everything, literally. Um, my understanding of reincarnation is kind of an interesting one. So in spirit, when you are not in a physical body, I say this a lot, um, from a particle physics perspective, when you are not in a particle, you are in a wave, right?
Okay. So when you're
And
not in a physical body, you're in a wave of like energy,
that's right.
frequency, just
Yep.
all being.
Mm-hmm. And in that frequency, you can plug in to any reality, any particle, right? And so, as spirit, you are guiding those in physical in one direction or another. Time, however, is fake. It's completely make believe. We know this. So, and it happens in like this compressed way in the now, but really time stretches to everything, which is why most people, when they have near death experiences, their life flashes before their eyes because it all happens in an instant, right? And so when a spirit plugs into a vessel to guide in any direction for any reason, no, don't marry that person, turn left, not right, and everything in between, the knowingness of that person's life is their whole life. And so you can then, when that spirit incarnates into their own body, it feels like a quote, past life. It feels like an entire lifetime that they have experienced, which is why so many of these schmucks come through with, like, I was Jesus in a past life. I was Mary Magdalene. I was Joan of Arc. Like, no, we like, okay, yes, because we were all everything.
But really,
And
they
when we
just
were
tapped into
everything,
it when they were in
mm-hmm,
the wave.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So they
And
weren't
when,
really having a a life on this earth. They were just tapping into lives on this
mm-hmm,
earth because they were
mm-hmm,
the all spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of like voyage or whatever, not
Mm-hmm.
into other,
Where, yeah,
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 into other physical realms, but
realities.
anywhere, not just Earth, anywhere
That's
in the
right.
whole universe.
Time, space continuum. That's right.
Be
Exactly.
more than the
Yes.
universe. It's probably more than the universe. It's probably infinite, whatever is infinite of all infinite, whatever is
This
out there.
right. This is, many realities existing all in once, right? And many parallel universes and things of that nature.
So you
And
can just
so
go
yeah,
hop around and check it all out and see what's going on and help guide people. And
sure.
then you can just decide where you want to incarnate
Yes, and so that's why when a little being chooses to incarnate with you, you're like, "Holy shit, I'm blessed."
because like that's a big decision.
Yeah.
And it's hard to incarnate, right?
I
It's
mean,
a lot of
yeah,
energy.
it's fucking hard to be a human, man. It's hard to be a fucking human. It's the hardest thing we do.
Why does anyone want to
Bullshit
be a human?
sometimes.
Isn't this
Uh
one of the harder realms? I keep hearing that.
mhm.
Like
Mhm.
one of the harder
Mhm.
schools per se.
Mhm. Mhm.
Why
Mhm.
do we
It's
want to come
dense.
here? It's dense. Okay. Because it's so, what does that mean?
So the vibration, so if you start tracking the Schumann resonance, which is the resonance of Earth and the third dimension that we exist on, that resonance only goes between 7 to 15 hertz. And there are thousands of hertz. Like the frequency of hertz is very high. And so that is low in the numbers, right? 7 to 15, that ain't it. But it is it. It's all that it is. It's all that we are. It's all that available to us, really. Although the Schumann resonance has been off the chain lately, and we've been getting these crazy waves and stuff like that. But it's been, yeah, like this is what it is. So it's dense. It's literally heavy. It's weighted. It's low on the frequency scale. And when we start to really understand about frequency collectively, whoo, we're not going to tolerate this kind of fuckery anymore. We're going to be like, excuse me, Earth School, who is in charge? Who is making decisions? Who is in those rooms that makes decisions about things that I know I don't agree with, and neither does the person beside me, and I don't want this, and I don't consent? And how do we change that? And we don't yet have the power collectively in our minds. We don't believe yet that we have the power. And I am like literally here for the revolution of it. I'm literally here to be like, actually, you do. But I don't whisper it. I'm
So
screaming at the top
is
of
it
my lungs.
human beings that have the power? Are there actual
Mm-hmm.
humans?
Mm-hmm.
And they figured out how to control all this? How did they figure that out?
Oh, I see what you're asking. Okay, so while we're on conspiracy theories, um, there was this, is this rumor of a cabal, okay? And I've often said, as people were like, "Ah, you're a conspiracy theorist." I'm like, if the idea exists in the collective that something like that exists, then there is an entity and an energy that is that. Period. Full stop. Do I think that it is only human? No. I think that those entities, those energies, those that cabal energy of whatever it is also knows about this CIA stuff, also knows about other things like that. And I believe that there are energies that and literal entities that are suppressing our consciousness and keeping us in a lower vibration.
Can we
And
break
I
free of that?
believe, yeah, you work on your own. You mind your own business, literally.
And if everyone
You
minds their own business, we can break the suppression.
if the entire world, if every single human being on planet Earth decided collectively to have a 15-minute meditation, everybody, no exceptions, no opening your eyes, no scrolling on your phone, no watching the TV, no opt out, we would be in a different reality at the end of the 15 minutes, period.
It would just take one time.
Yeah, but like how? But you can't even get people to agree on who to vote for. You can't even get people to agree on whether or not climate change is real. You can't get right, like all these divisive. You can't even get people to agree on whether or not this person has value as a human or that person has value as a human. How on earth, if in that low fuckery vibration, could you possibly get to the high vibration of love and peace that is available in a collective meditation like that? And I remember in the pandemic doing a lot of collective meditations, virtual containers where thousands of people around the world were gathering and having these kinds of mind
That's
meets.
probably pretty powerful back
It
when that was
was,
happening.
it was
Maybe
the
that's
only
what's
thing that
led
kept
to
me
the
going.
spiritual awakening that's happening.
100%. It's part of it. I hope, God willing. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what is your goal with your life? Like, what is your, after having this chance to come back, after everything you've been through, what is your divine purpose here?
Hmm. Um, the dream, as I see it, is to be able to channel and speak as much as possible in as many places as I possibly can, and to live a fulfilling life that takes me where I wish to be, and where I'm needed to give the messages that come through so clearly. I'm not afraid to speak my truth. I'm not afraid to live it. I'm not afraid, and I live in integrity with a lot of it, which not all people who are, the gurus are. And so, yeah, I think, for me, it's really just about more opportunities to keep spreading the light to as many people as possible, and to, guide people in the containers that I hold, in the ways that I can. I love working with my clients. I love to be, in the vibration of what we were in earlier.
That was
That's my
amazing doing
yeah.
readings and like channeling. How, so if people want to work with you, what are the options?
Mm-hmm. Right now it is Resilience Revolution. So it's a 90-day like group coaching and one-on-one. You get 6 one-on-ones with me. They are as powerful as you can imagine them to be. Um, we start with your birth chart. We dig into who you were designed to be in this lifetime and how you can follow your own map home to yourself. And then there's in the group classes, we're like diving into divination and how to like work your intuition and how to channel and how to, speak the language of crystals and understand about astrology and what the hell is EFT and why do we need it and does it help and all these different things. There are so many different things in my journey that I've learned because I put my spoon into a lot of different pots. And
Mm.
um now I'm just like getting to offer some of that flavoring to others and guide and teach and do that, and then, be able to open my mouth and use my words for good, God willing. So
That's
that's
amazing though that you have the experience that you had of like
mm,
crossing over, choosing to come back,
mm,
realizing your gifts, going on your own journey to activate them, trying so many things, and now you've concocted like almost like a little potion formula that is what you know to be true that works. Because
mm-hmm,
you have gone from the depths of not wanting to be here to now being so fully activated that you're like,
yeah,
okay, I actually have tried all of this, and here is the journey that you need to hop into to activate yourself. Like that's very powerful to have someone have walked this journey like you have. And I guess you
thank
almost
you.
have to be at your level, you almost have to go so far so you can go so. It's like for
Mm-hmm,
every action there's an to like hit the other
mm-hmm,
extremity of being connected, you almost have to be that disconnected maybe or
mm-hmm.
that lost, right?
Yeah, definitely. And the cool thing about it, as per your first comment that sort of kicked this podcast off, I'm actually not the guru, right? And so what's really great is that I can open a lot of these doors and introduce some of these modalities and tools and opportunities. And if you want to go deeper, that's what we'll do. So in that group, if the feeling and the vibe of everybody is like, okay, we just want to know everything there is to know about astrology. Well, I don't know everything there is to know, but I do know quite a bit. And so, okay, let's go there and we'll just dig all the way. And then when something else needs to come up and somebody else has something else that they want to dive into, we can. And then afterwards, at the end of that 90 days, you get to go on and figure out what of those little nuggets feels good for you. What is it that you want to keep diving into? What was that one thing that I shared that you were like, oh my God, there's for sure a rabbit hole that I got to go down now? And then you go. And so, and I love that. I love to be like, there's another world available. There's another reality beyond the one that you believe to be the limitation. That limitation is your mind. It's not real. And like, here are 30,000 things that you can do that might challenge it,
So you're just a guide.
something.
A
Yeah.
guide, yeah, you're all sorts of things.
Hmm.
What would you, if you were going to list all of your gifts, what are they?
I'm a psychic. I'm clairaudient, so I have an inner hearing. I'm also claircognizant. I have an inner knowing. Um, I am an astrologer, which in itself is kind of a gift. It's a big universe out there, and there's a lot to know. And I love that I get to read the stars. Um, I'm certified as an EFT specialist, so that's cool. EFT is the art of tapping and moving the energy in your meridians. I'm
Dang,
a, I'm
Jana,
certi-
this
I,
is
I'm
serious.
I'm certified as a life activation practitioner. I've studied quantum human design, which is a cool twist on human design by the brilliant Karen Curry Parker, who is studied with Ra Uru Hu. And if I'm saying crazy things that you don't understand, if you're listening to this, go look it all up. But yeah, I'm a lot of things. I'm also an aunt, which I love. Yeah, mostly I'm just Jana.
Are you enjoying your journey?
Oh yeah, I'm super happy to be alive. And that in itself is enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm the expert. Because I used to want to kill myself. I literally tried to take my own life and now I'm just happy to be here. So, you know,
That's
I want
so
that for others.
amazing. What a gift. What a
Thank
gift of
you.
your life, though. Like, truly, like, and what a gift to the divine spark that is you that you
Mm.
have gone on the journey to feel this way.
Hmm.
You didn't call it because so many of us
Mm.
want to, but
Yeah.
you didn't. And now look what's on the other side.
Mm.
I feel like that is a message for so many people that there is another side waiting. You just have to get through the muck.
Yeah. And choose, like, really and truly. In the beginning, when I was, when it was hard coming back into my body, it was just choice after choice after choice after awareness after choice after choice after choice. I started with mindfulness and then I started going even deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it really just starts with looking, you know, with like a searing presence.
It's amazing, Jana. Okay, where can everyone find you? And I always wrap up with one question, but tell us where everyone can find you and if they want to
Mm-hmm.
be a part of your community.
Yeah, you can go to janastern.com. That's a great way to get me. And on all socials, it's at Jana Stern, JanaStern, healer, Healer. So at Jana Stern Healer on all the socials, wherever it might be, I'm probably there. And janastern.com is my website.
And I highly recommend people doing a reading with you because it was really awesome. Like when you were tapping into the oracle reading, it was
Mm,
really great because like things that have been weighing on me, and a lot of
mm,
people who have followed my journey know about like all my miscarriages and
mm,
baby journey, and you gave me some great insight into that. And really,
mm,
to it all comes back to ourselves. This journey is for ourselves and like releasing control, trusting, believing, letting go, and just following the flow that is your life without trying to force the flow, which has been quite the lesson for me over and over and over again. Um,
Must be
I
human.
I know. I always wrap up with leave your light, and it's just an open-ended question. What do you want people to know? What kind of wisdom do you want to drop here at the end?
It's all going to be okay. Like we're so concerned with all these things in our lives and we're all so terrified because so many places in our worlds tell us to be, but it is all going to be okay. This is not the end. This is the beginning and you're not dead, you are alive. And if you are alive, then more is possible and you can choose better and life can get better and humanity can get better and it's all going to be okay.
I love that. Jana Stern. Okay, I know I've already taken so much of your time, but can I
You're awesome.
ask you a few questions, like a little 10
Mhm.
minute question? Okay, we're gonna do a little tell me more. I always okay, so Jana, thank you so much. And now we're going to do a little bonus episode with Jana Stern where she is going to answer a few questions called Tell Me More. And since you have wisdom, I'm going to have you just kind of tell me which card you want. You did cards
Mm.
for me earlier,
There's
and
one
now
that's upside down, and that's the one
this
that's
one.
upside down. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So all of you guys who didn't hear the full episode with Jana, it was very powerful. She gave me a reading, an oracle reading, which was just so spot on into myself, like what I need to work on, what's holding me back. And if you guys are struggling with your own blocks, I highly recommend you doing a reading with Jana or joining your course. What is your course that you're
Mhm.
offering right now?
Resilience Revolution.
And you're just a powerful person. Quickly, just tell everyone your gifts because if they didn't hear the full episode on
Mm.
Monday, what are the things that you are
hmm
gifted in? You've had an incredible journey from a near-death experience to activating your calling, which is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm going to remember all of them in order, but I'm a psychic, I'm an astrologer, I am clairaudient, I am also clairsentient. I am I'm an auntie and I am just here for the learning always, always and always and always. Yeah.
It's
And I've got
amazing.
certifications on certifications and blah 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 blah.
You are deep into healing of yourself, sharing that
Mm.
healing with others, and teaching others how to activate their own guru inside instead of just feeling
Mhm.
like we have to outsource it all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay,
Exactly.
so now we're gonna do a little tell me more with Jana
Okay.
Stern.
Let's go.
What moment of your life do you wish you could live again?
Hmm. That's a good question. Let me think about it. So many. There are so many beautiful moments that I've had in my life. Like there are so many. And they're all little moments. I mean, I wish I could relive moments with my grandparents. Those were so sacred when I was a child, just being at the cottage with them. That's like a really, really big one for me. I'm thinking about when my nieces and my nephew were born. Those are like amazing moments that I was just, especially the eldest, like when she was born, I was just like, oh, you're a real person. And now I'm just gonna like love you. And I do, and I like suffocate her with my love all the time. Um, I suffocate all of them with my love, actually, all five of them, those poor babies. Um, and Yeah, I think I have moments of being on the beach with my love and experiencing that, and that would be a moment I would relive, like you know, having not been alive for 11 minutes. There are many, many, many moments that I stop and I pause and I feel my heart beating and I feel myself alive. And I literally say to myself, there I am alive again. And Mostly those are the moments that are sort of like rushing through me right now, is just this feeling of there's beauty in so many moments. I mean, there have been a lot of hard moments, but seeing my father again after 4 years of him being homeless was a great moment. I'll take that 100,000 times over again. Um, running to him on the street, but also just like, yeah, my mom and I on overnights together and spending time, my dad and I, my stepdad, my dad and I, having vacations. I just had the most beautiful time in Bali. I mean, like I have a great life, I have a beautiful life, so lots of moments.
You've built a beautiful life
Yeah,
and
I
you
have.
followed your calling to it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's the secret is to just
Mm-hmm.
follow the whisper that guides
Mm-hmm.
you?
Stop telling yourself you can't, you're not enough, you don't deserve, it's not okay. You shouldn't, it's not appropriate. You should do this and you should do that thing first, or it should be this way, or it should look like that, or these people should approve, or fuck all that. Like if it feels good to you, just do it. And then it will feel good. And you're allowed to just feel good for the sake of feeling good.
That, that's enough. You
That's
don't have to
enough.
have
You're
approval.
enough. Yeah.
You don't have to have somebody give you the stamp that you can do this.
Give yourself a gold star. Go buy some stickers.
Okay, I love it. Okay, which other one do you want to do?
There's a little guy with
Wait, tell me when I get
nope.
there.
Yep, that one.
Wait, this one poking out or this one?
Another one. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are fun.
I know. I don't do your kind of cards. I want to do your kind of cards, but I love these.
Go
Okay.
get yourself a deck.
And just do it.
Just do it.
Okay.
Just do it. The wand chooses the wizard. You'll know which one because it'll choose you.
Oh. How do I like go
And
to a store to get a deck of
mm-hmm,
cards or how do you?
mm-hmm. Yeah, you can. I you can. You also could just like go to heyhouse.com, but yeah, actually I wonder if I have an affiliate code for crystals. If that's something that somebody wants, you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram and find that. But and I think maybe they sell decks. I don't know. I'll have to look. But if not, yeah, go to heyhouse.com and just like browse and see which one calls to you, or go into like a metaphysical shop. There are billions of them all over the place now. And just see what you're drawn to. It's fun. It's a fun thing to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is something you want and are also a bit afraid of?
Children.
Why? You just gave me a whole talking to about children and you made me feel so powerful about it. You're like, it is
Well, you're doing it in practice, not in theory, you know? Um, yeah, yeah. I think
Why
I'm
are
also
you of
40.
all people?
Hmm.
You just told me that people have babies all
Yeah,
into
of
their
course I
20s.
do. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
you have
yeah,
the
yeah.
same fears I have as a human, don't you?
Yeah, it seems that I might be one. Or at
When
least I
you
really look like one.
when you are in your like connection and you're
Mm-hmm.
speaking to me,
Mm-hmm.
you're so
Mm-hmm.
confident with this. But when you're in your own human, you have your own
Mm-hmm.
fears. Okay, good to know, Jana Stern.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You asked. Yeah, that's the answer. I
But if
think
you really want them, then that's your soul's desire,
yeah.
right?
And I think that God will conspire in my favor, I hope. But yeah, I see a lot of people who are parents, and I see how hard it is and the sacrifice that it takes to be a mother, and how difficult it is to be in partnership, and to make partnerships work. And I've experienced divorce and trauma and all kinds of other things that we don't need to get into, and like all of those things play a role. And then I see the kids in my life whom I adore, each more than the last, and I like can't believe how much I love them. And I think, do I have the capacity to love a human more? And what the hell would that look like? And how much is riding on it? It's just like, it's terrifying and also fucking beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. And I think everybody should have a million babies. The end. Like,
But
you
so
know,
you have a fear about it.
totally.
Hey,
It's
that makes me feel
fucking
better because
oh, good. Thanks, Spirit. You were like, this card. I was like, actually, the one beside it. I was like, do I let her think that this is the card I want? It's not. I want the one beside it. Thanks, universe. We got you.
Oh, so
Thanks,
you
Spirit.
really didn't want this card that I pulled?
No, I did. I wanted the one this one, because you obviously needed to hear my humanness, because I
Uh-huh.
totally am one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because when you're giving me a reading, you tapped into the spirit and like
Mm.
it
I
is
was in a
so true.
channel.
Yes. But then
Yes.
when you are a human, it's so nice to know that we all have these human fears, but we can't worry about them. So
Bingo,
you
babe.
are destined to be having children. Okay,
Mhm.
last one.
Okay.
Look at you. This is
You
great, Janet.
choose. You choose. You choose this
You
one.
know,
I don't want to choose.
no,
You
you
choose.
have to choose.
What do you mean I have to? All right.
You don't have to. I guess you.
All right. The second one that's upside down. So go, 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 go. Not the, nope. Come back. You've gone too far. Come back more, more, more. That one. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. That's the one. That's my guy.
Okay.
Oh, I'm a little nervous about this one. I don't know what
Okay.
this one's gonna say. Let's see.
Okay. Well, three came with it, but I don't know if we're supposed to do all three. What would you do? All three if they came?
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. What do you think your 8-year-old self would think about the person you are today?
She's weird. That's what she would say. That girl really just wanted to fit in. There was so much going on in her little life, and I'm so outside of the box of what normal looked like. So she'd be weird, but she'd be proud of me. There's no question about that. But she that would be the first thing that she's weird, you know. So that's the answer to that question.
What conversation or encounter with a stranger will you never forget?
I have a lot of beautiful encounters with strangers, many of them, especially like when I first started reading. I would read people on the street. There was one woman, I don't even know her name, but I met her. I was walking on Young Street, which is like the longest street in North America, I think. And so it's a long street. And there I was, and I was feeling her as she crossed paths with me. And I said, I'm so sorry. And I used to carry around a deck, which I still have with me. And I used to carry around this deck, and I said to her, "I'm so sorry, but I really need to stop and ask you some questions." And she was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Is it okay if I read your cards?" And I just started shuffling, and she was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So I'm shuffling, and the next thing I knew, like her brother was coming through, and it was just this really, really powerful, potent moment. And she was sobbing on the street. And I was just like, I don't even remember what I said, but I know that the way that he came through was so clear and so powerful. And she just needed the message at the time, like so badly. And it was the first time that I really let myself do that. And in doing it, I I got very clearly for myself that, like, oh, this is it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. The way that I've affected this person on the street, on like this huge long street. She could have been anywhere in the world, and she's here on this incredibly long street where I am. Okay, cool. So that would be that's my final answer on that one.
I love that. Okay, and
Well,
last question. What's something you lost or misplaced that you still think about?
I'm not the one who lost it. We're gonna let this person not go under the bus, but there is a something that is lost that I think about a lot. My grandmother, when she was in her travels, my mother's mother, um, found this ancient, we believe it was a monkey eye ring. And the eye was literally in the ring. And you could tell that this was a real eye. Like this was a real something. And it was the most disgusting thing. And she wore it all the time. And I thought it was so strange. And I used to mock her and get really like, be like, what is this thing? And I was just like totally repulsed by it. And it didn't go to me, it went to a sibling's partner. And it is now gone, and I think about it all the time.
Why do you think about it?
It was just such a huge essence of who she was, you know. She was such a strong woman who was really her own person. She had a power and a vision. She definitely, I mean, that part of my lineage is also so gifted. Both sides of my lineage are very gifted. Um, and yeah, I just have so many memories of being a young girl where she would, be wearing it, and I would be kind of playing with it, but also like terrified of it. And that was kind of my, I had such a respect and a reverence for her. And we had such a unique relationship. And I have lots of things. I mean, like this is that her name is right here on this little plaque, and she's all over the place. I have many things that were hers, ton of her clothes and all kinds of stuff. But that one thing is the thing that's, I think about it a lot. I'm like, oh, I wish I had that, but you know, maybe somebody else is wearing her eye ring now. So if you find an eye ring,
That's
call me.
wild. That's hilarious.
Yeah, do your thing, internet.
Well, Jana, this was just such an amazing time. I am so happy to get to know you, and thank you for sharing your gifts with me and the oracle
Thank you.
reading that you did. And I cannot recommend this enough to anyone listening. It was so awesome to have you tap into my energy field, and like I don't even know what you're tapping into exactly, but just to get that guidance. And you know when it's like true. It feels so true to you because like everything you're speaking was so on true to like what I've been feeling, what I needed to hear. And I feel like you're so gifted in sharing that with people
Thank you.
and using your life to help people know the truth, to get back to themselves, to get back to love, to get back to living, to get back to being here in their consciousness and truly experiencing the life that we came here to experience, not the one that we've been programmed to experience.
Bingo, babe.
So
Exactly.
thank you for using your life and your gifts to help us all wake up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun. You're a blast. I would do this every day with you. You're so fun.
This was so fun, Jana. I feel the same way. I appreciate it so much. And
My
everyone go
pleasure.
follow Jana. You are Jana Stern Healer
You got it.
everywhere. And that's your
Everywhere.
where to find you. Okay. This is awesome. Thank you, Jana. Bye.